Good afternoon, esteemed dignitaries and respected members. On behalf of the members in Practice Committee of ICI, with jointly with SAFA SMP Committee, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you for today's insightful webinar on bridging the mindset gap. In the era of consistent change, professional success is not longer driven by technical expertise alone. It demands a right mindset, unwavering ethics, and strong interpersonal capabilities. Today's session is designed to help us strengthen exactly these dimensions. It's now my privilege to introduce our dynamic leader, CA Madhukar Narayan Hirgange, Chairman, Members in Practice Committee, a stalwart of profession. CA Hirgange is a widely respected for his deep technical expertise, particularly in indirect taxation, and for his relentless commitment to capacity building within the profession. His visionary leadership has consistently focused on empowering members to adapt to changing times through practical, forward looking initiatives. Under his guidance, the committee has launched several impactful programs aimed at bridging the gap between knowledge and implementation with a strong emphasis on ethics, technology adaptation, and professional excellence. We are truly privileged to have his guidance for today's session. Sir, I would request you to please share your words of wisdom with the members today.
Thank you, Priyanshu. As usual, your introduction is very nice and short. So I thought that normally I just say the latest initiative of our committee, but we are going to have a meeting with SAFA, one of the committee meetings of the SMP of the SAFA countries coming. So since we have Mr. Prabin from Nepal, I thought that I can take the opportunity of sharing what exactly we are doing. So I may take about 5 to 7 minutes, not more. Normally I take 2 3 minutes. Today I'm going to take a little more. So if I look at it, the practice across the world is changing. And today's two speakers itself, if you look at their profiles, when Priyanshu will tell you, they are all into some other area. They are in compliance. They are no longer in compliance. They are into consulting and they are growing well. You will also come to know what depth of subject they have. If I look at the current landscape which is there today, the compliance work is moving towards self-assessment systems. Government is doing a lot on that. They are also looking at digital transparency, reducing, traditional compliance codes. Audit is there, but the demand or the money is coming from advisory services. Today, industry wants you to add to their bottom line. Unless you are adding to their bottom line, they are not interested in you. One more point is slowly the difference between a IT professional or a AI professional and other professionals is slowly disappearing. Everybody is capable of doing everything. And also, very important, everywhere, even outside India. So am I ready is the question. Let me look at some of the, areas where ICI is doing some work. The first one, of course, is what you're witnessing now. Other than that, we have cloud accounting technology integration. Can we integrate, make our office itself digitally compliant, and then move to making our clients' offices also digitally compliant? Data analytics, business intelligence, we have a AI level 1 and level 2 course. More than 70,000 chartered accountants have gone through this course. We have recently started cyber and data protection advisory from DAB, They have a 3-day certificate course. ESG and sustainable reporting is something which is we are proud of. In fact, we have our own sustainability standards. Recently, our committee has thought of GCC training for a job or for consultancy. GST litigation and compliance, you know that we have a lot of litigation in India because of justice not coming immediately, laws being a bit complicated. Also, the graft or the rent seeking, you know, of the government offices. Real estate consultancy and advisory services is something which we are looking at to work with the MSME committee. And sorry, not with MSME, that we are doing along with CECL, that is the one more committee which does only RERA certification they do. Then there is MSME advisory, which is a $1 billion opportunity for all of us. Most of us service them only. We are planning this year to start the CFO services, virtual CFO services. Last year, we had started customs FTP refunds, and this year we'll be taking a few more classes towards that. We also thought that it is time for us to actually see how we can support practical application of IT tools. One is for the older people like me, 50-50. What is 50-50? 50-50 is 50 IT tools, simple tips will be taught for people above 50. Because we feel if we go to a class where we have Drishti and Harsh sitting, those people will finish the Excel before we open the Excel. You know, we feel like idiots there. So we want to be with older people so we won't feel embarrassed. We also started actual working on IT tools yesterday, where an IT tool, free IT tool will be provided by a link and sent to everybody in India. You can work on that IT tool. On Wednesday, we will have the same person who developed that IT tool to tell you what it is. Then you can again work on it. And then after 2 days, Friday, he will come back and answer all your questions. With that, that IT tool is over. After 15 days, another IT tool will come. This is the way in which we hope that we can show and enable easy practical application of the IT tool. Our committee has wealth management, drafting, appeals and drafting, and working papers management, 3 different certificate courses. Our institute also has more than 12 certificate courses from other committees, whether it is PDC or direct tax, GST, and many others. What we are looking at in this committee is that there is a mindset shift itself, that I have to now become a problem solver in business. I have to add value to the business. So how do I do this? I expand my niches, deepen my client relationship. Service innovation is very important, and today you are going to hear something about one new service also. Create new advisory offerings, add value to the client is common throughout. And we have no longer we can work only in one area. We need to collaborate with people who are complementary to us. Complementary can be just for adding value. Complementary can be I am doing audit. Somebody will come and offer me litigation service in the same area. I wish that you transform your practice today. Embrace this wonderful evolution from compliance to consulting. Build the practice of tomorrow starting now. All the best. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for sharing and setting the tone of the webinar today and sharing the initiatives of the committee for members in practice, which we are doing. And to go forward, we warmly welcome CA Praveen Kumar Jha, Vice President SAFA. With over 25 years of professional experience, he has built strong expertise in audit advisory and risk assessment. As a senior partner and a former president of ICA Nepal, he has consistently demonstrated leadership in strengthening professional standards and governance practices. His association with regulatory bodies and international platforms reflects his deep commitment to quality, integrity, and value driven professional services. Sir, we're delighted to have you here, and we request you to please share some words with our members today.
Namaskar. Thank you, Priyansuji. Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. My sincere greetings to the committee chair of SAFA SMP committee and ICA's committee of members in practice, both the speaker madams, the secretariat team, and all the distinguished personalities attending this webinar from all across the region. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all. Firstly, I would like to thank you, the chair, to talk about the new service offerings for growth and also how we can transform practices. So this I believe would help, and I look forward to actually working with you on this. Organizing this type of series, a Bridging the Mindship series on a weekly basis is something which is commendable. The environment, and we thank you for that. The environment in which we professional accountants are required to perform, be it in our practice or any other enterprise or advisory service, is changing rapidly, and in order to perform, we need to adjust. When I say adjust, we mean we need to broaden our perspective. We need to skill up consistently about the things that we already know. We need to learn new things and adapt. And we also need to see and do things differently than what we are used to be doing. And for all this to happen, we need to identify the mindset gaps and work toward bridging this gap. And one of the ways to do this is to hear from experts who have already made the change and have performed. This is what we are doing today, and we shall be hearing from our experts on two very relevant topics. We are going while going about our businesses, which involve giving our opinion and advice to our clients. We professional accountants come across different challenging situations where our ethical values are tested. So the first topic that we shall be discussing today, that the expert will talk about, is actually based on this, and she will be talking about it. Ethical values, accountability, professional courage, continuous competencies, lifelong learning are some of the traits that we must have to deal with situations where our ethical values are tested. So I believe the first session would actually give us a new perspective to look at these things. The second topic, we will talk about behavioral and interpersonal skill competencies, the importance of which is immense, and I look forward to hearing from our expert. Both the eminent speakers that are going to talk in a while are highly experienced and proven experts in their respective field, and I believe there would be some takeaways for everyone attending the webinar. Finally, before I conclude, I would again thank the speakers for the session and all the participants from India and other POs attending the webinar. Welcome once again. Thank you and namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Now we are honored to have with us Mr. Muhammad Himayu Kabir, President SAFA. With over 45 years of distinguished experience, he is respected authority in fiscal laws, financial management, and corporate governance. His contributions span across professional practice, policy making, and leadership in business and industry. He has played a pivotal role in shaping policy discussions and has actively represented the profession at global forums, bringing valuable international perspectives and strategic insights. Sir, we welcome you and we request you to please share your words of wisdom with the members here today.
Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone there. CA Probin ji, Vice President SAFA, CA Madhukar Hiraganget ji, Chair SMP Committee, and other distinguished fellow professionals, and the dear fellow participant, aspiring leaders of the profession. It is a pleasure to welcome you to all this continuing series of webinars focused on a theme that is perhaps the most critical determinant of our future relevance, that is the bridging the mindset gap. As we navigate an era defined by rapid technological disruption and evolving global standards, the technical proficiency of an accountant, while essential, is no longer sufficient on its own. The gap we speak of is the distance between being a technical expert and being a trusted, influential leader. Today, we focus on two pillars of that bridge this gap: the uncompromised professional and behavioral and interpersonal competencies. The uncompromised professionals in the world of finance and governance, integrity is our true currency. To be uncompromised means more than just following the letter of the law. It is about adhering to the spirit of ethics even when no one is watching. As professionals, we often face immense pressure from various stakeholders. However, the moment we compromise on our objectivity or independence, we lose the very essence of our profession. An uncompromised professional actually he or she prioritizes long-term trust over short-term gain, recognizing that reputation is built over decades but can be lost in seconds. And he or she also demonstrates courage, the courage to speak truth to power and to stand by accurate, transparent reporting. While technically skill get through the door, behavior competencies determine how high one can climb and how much impact one can have. The transition from a compliance-based role to an advisory-based role requires a fundamental shift in how we interact with the world. Understanding the why behind the numbers allow us to provide better strategic insight to clients and organizations if we can have been listening with empathy. And also when we can communicate effectively to translate complex financial data into actionable narratives for non-financial stakeholders, that also helps build our interpersonal competencies. Third aspect is the maintaining a growth mindset that views change, whether it be AI, sustainability or reporting or new regulation, as an opportunity rather than a threat. That is, the adaptability mindset will help us to have an effective building and communication competencies. The mindset gap is bridged when we realize that our value lies not just in what we know, but in how we think and how we relate to others. I would like to thank the SMP committee of SAFA and the CMP of ICI for their vision in organizing this series. The collaboration across borders strengthens our regional professional fabrics and ensure that we all are collectively prepared for the challenges of tomorrow. I wish all a very productive and insightful session. Let us commit to being not just a skilled accountant, but uncompromised leaders as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So it's now my pleasure to introduce the first eminent speaker of the day, C.A. Drushti R. Desai, Madam. A practicing chartered accountant, C.A. Drushti Desai, Madam, brings with her over 30 years of distinguished experience in corporate advisory, mergers and acquisitions, tax advisory, and succession planning. An all India rank holder, she has advised some of India's largest listed companies across sectors with deep expertise in valuation and complex transactions. She also serves as an independent director on multiple multiple boards and has contributed significantly to the development of valuation standards. Her vast experience and strategic insights makes her perfect voice to speak on the uncompromised professional. Ma'am, I would request to please take your session. Over to you.
First of all, thank you. I would first of all thank the CMP for organizing a brilliant series. I think this is a need of the hour. We have at the Institute always emphasized on being good professionals and to have a structured series in this fashion, which every week reminds the members about the ways to be a better professional and command respect. After all, unless we command respect, we don't retire with that respect. And what do we do when, in the fag end of our lives, probably when the grandchildren would say that, oh, see, I don't know what exactly CA does. We don't want that situation, and that's why we really have to work hard and keep the morals high, and we have to keep the ethical standards high so as to command respect from the society at large, from the regulators, from government, from corporates, and everyone. So thank you, Madhukar sir, for this brilliant session and the series and the kind of work that you have been putting in. It's very impressive. And thanks even the Priyanshu ji for this, the effort that you are putting in organizing all these programs for the benefit of the members at large. Now, without any further delay, what I will do is I have a small presentation. The reason why I have a presentation is only to remind me about the points I have to talk about so that I don't get derailed from the topics that I'm supposed to cover. Because the moment you start talking about, the profession, what is the right thing to do, what is not, and after 30 years of experience in the profession, there's a lot you can speak. You can speak for hours. So better to have a slide in front of you giving the pointer. So that's the reason why I have a slide. Otherwise, this is not a session which really requires any slide or presentation. But for the benefit, I think I will just have a presentation. Yeah. I hope you can see my slide.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we can see.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So, right. I think the reason why I have selected the word the invisible credentials, is because people sometimes don't understand why a person has become a successful person, or why is it that a person commands respect from corporates and regulators. And it remains a mystery. And that is exactly where the invisible credentials come in. And the topic that I have selected is the uncompromised professional. What exactly is an uncompromised professional is what I'm going to discuss, because it's something that one has to try to imbibe in one's professional journey, and that really pays off. And I think. As we just discussed, or we just heard some time back, that it's a long-term investment. There will be no short-term gains when you adhere to all these, the pillars of ethics. There is no short-term gain at all. In fact, maybe others will go far ahead very fast, but then in the long run, that really doesn't work. And ultimately, one has to decide, whether you are here only for making money or also for earning some respect in the society, because money a lot of people have made. Even Charles Shobraj was very clever and he made a lot of money, and all the top, I would say even Dawood for that matter must be very clever. Otherwise, he would not have made an empire like this. But then it's about the ethics, and that is where you get your respect from the society. So it is for us to decide what we want in life. So these are the 5 pillars I have discussed. There are many pillars, but I've just picked up these 5. The first one that I'm going to talk about is integrity. Just a minute. I'm not able. Okay. Yeah. So the first pillar, so the journey, as I have discussed, first starts with integrity, and that's very important. So firstly, before I start, I would like to ask you a question. You would have certain role models, you would respect certain professionals, and just think about it, just introspect and think, why do you respect that person? So you must understand why you respect, and then everything will boil down to this, that this person has very high level of integrity, very good professional behavior, and of course good technical knowledge. So these are some of the things. Integrity is a very, very important thing, and that's a way of life. It's not that you can have a character which is outside the profession, which is not as upright, and in the profession you are absolutely upright. uh, Somewhere there will be some fault lines which will develop if the character, you cannot have two different characters, and so integrity is a way of life. uh, so let's come to the first part. So what exactly is integrity? So integrity is about being truthful, honest. So it's not like saying that you will just say things irrelevantly, truthfully, because it doesn't really make sense. But when we have a responsibility of reporting, it is very important that we keep in mind that what we report should be truthful. It should not be cladded in a way that the truth is hidden. It should not be ambiguous so as to not send the right message across. So that's where truthfulness comes in. It's very, very important because when your reportings are truthful, in that case, the invest. So, for example, I do a lot of valuation. So when I report, and my report, I have sometimes even heard from people that, oh, very nice, elaborate report and all. And that really helps investors. It really helps the people to understand what has gone into it. It often happens that we have days of deliberations, or not deliberations, but actually confrontations with the corporates, when we have certain clear disclosures, limitations, which give out certain things which maybe the clients don't want. But it's not about client wanting or not wanting, it's about being truthful and putting up what is relevant. What is relevant must be put up, so that there is a considered decision which can be taken by the stakeholders who are affected by our findings. So it's very important to be like this. Second is obviously moral courage. It does happen, sometimes that we are engaged, and then I find that, sorry, what you are saying is not right. This is what it is. It may happen that I lose the assignment, because then there are others who will maybe be willing, or they may have a different view. Maybe I will not give into that view, and that is where the moral courage comes in. It really makes a huge difference. Again, moral courage is something which one has to have in one's life as a whole. So if there's something wrong happening, or if you don't agree with something, do you have the courage to speak up that no, this is not right? In fact, as as a team leader in my organization, I am very happy when somebody challenges, somebody puts up a point, questions me, or questions the partners, because it's important for the person to know what he's doing and why he's doing, and if he doesn't agree, he must ask a question. So that's the building of a good professional. So moral courage is very important, and one doesn't have to just say yes and just agree just because as a senior, or there's something which is a, what I would say, as a convention. Sometimes there are just some conventions that, okay, everybody is doing this, I'm doing it, but do you agree with it? If you don't agree, say it. There's no harm in saying that I don't agree with this. So you require to have moral courage. Sometimes it's also that when you have moral courage, you are appointed for doing something, and then you, even however high authority it is, you will stick to what you think is right. If you have the moral courage, you will be able to stand by what you have done, what you believe in. uh, then the other thing is obviously unethical practices. There are sometimes some shortcuts taken, some unethical practices, but one should not really fall for those kinds of practices. Maybe in the short run there is a loss, but in the long run it's always good. Uh, and then we have, fairness. That is what is all about, truthfulness. Then ethical consistency, I spoke about it. That is, you can't have two different personalities. You have to change your way of living. You have to be honest. You have to be morally strong. And you should be able to refuse all unethical practices, be it any um, if a traffic hawaldar stops you at a signal, you should be willing to say, okay, fine, let me pay you the fine, rather than taking any shortcuts there. So that's the kind of personality that one should try to develop. And when you have that, maybe it reflects in every part of your professional life also. So integrity is the most important facet of a professional. Next, we are going to talk about objectivity. Now, this is very important because as chartered accountants, we have our own opinions. Obviously, all the CAs are obviously with, higher IQ, as I would always put up, that people with higher level of intelligence only can clear the exam. And so we will have our own minds whenever we look at something, but then that may sometimes affect our objectivity. And so it's very important, as an independent professional, as an independent service provider, you have to be very, very objective, and you should be free from all the biases. Now, what are the kinds of biases that we are looking at? One bias could be your own view. You have a particular view about something, and all that you try to do is just strengthen your view, despite whatever is a factual position. Now, that is not what is the right way of being independent and objective. So you may have a view. Obviously, everybody has a view, but one has to confirm it, if at all. Otherwise, you have to change your view. You will have to see the factual position and decide whether your view is right or it doesn't really hold good. And then you have to take a position without getting impacted by your own view, which is you don't go with confirmation bias. The second thing that one has to look at is, anchoring bias. It often happens, that the clients, they will come up with a case. You have your first meeting with them, and they'll put up the best case before you, and you will feel that, oh wow, this is the best thing, that could happen. But one should always, which will always, that is nothing but professional skepticism, but one should always have a questioning mind and try to also evaluate what are the other possibilities, whether the first case which is put up to you is the only case possible, or there are other factors which you as a professional would be aware of, which are existing in the economy or in the circumstance, which will have an impact. So it's not that you can just take the plain vanilla story which you have been narrated by the client, but you have to keep in mind what are the other, features which will impact that story. And that is what is the anchoring bias, that you should not try to just get biased by whatever is the anchoring, stories sold to you. You have to hear everyone out. That goes without saying. You have to hear everyone, talk to more people, and get a better understanding, and then you take your view on it. So without getting influenced only by what the other side wants you to believe. Then you have the relationship bias. Now that's when there is, some relationship, uh, or you have a long-term relationship working with a particular client, and then you get influenced by that relationship. That's a relationship bias, and that is why you would try to do something which is acceptable to, or that's something which is expected by the client. So that is a very bad thing. Relationships are very important in our professional life. However, one has to stay above the relationship, and the relationship should also know that I will not get my work done from this professional. So that actually earns a lot of respect in your relationship. So better to strengthen the relationship by remaining objective with an older relationship also. So that's where the relationship bias you have to come over. Very important to come over all these biases. Next is you have to have your independent professional judgment. As I said in the first point itself, that while you will hear out everyone, you will also try to understand the various factors at play and what is the impact of those different factors. You will have to read a lot, you'll have to hear a lot, and then you have to form your own professional judgment on what is the right way to go about. And it should not be just, that's what, it should not be just shaped by what a client wants to say or hear. And it has to be driven by evidence from your side. Then, of course, managing conflicts of interest. Now, if somebody was to say that, okay, conflict of it, so there's a statutory way of saying this is called conflicted, but not necessary. Even if there is, sometimes even if there is a conflict, so-called conflict as statutorily defined, a person will still remain completely above board, and in fact, sometimes even um, much worse than what that person would be with someone else, just because that person wants to avoid being singled out as a person who's conflicted, and that is why his judgment or his report or his representation is affected. So managing conflict of interest is very important. We have to stay above board, and we should not be biased by the relationship and the conflict. It does happen, like for example, it does happen sometimes that you in the firm may be doing work for some particular other client, and some other client who's a competitor comes to someone for doing some other work, but you will not be conflicted. Means the thing is, one has to be completely above board and has to not get biased towards any one client or anything, any relationship. It has to be a proper professional, objective behavior and delivery. Evidence-based decision making is very important. One cannot just take a decision because it just suits or it is you feel happy about it. You have to back your decisions by the evidence and make the decision. And the professional skepticism. Now, I would like to bring out one more thing here. Professional skepticism sometimes is taken to a different extreme. Sometimes some people just take this skepticism to a level of being always disagreeable. It's not about being disagreeable, but it's about, whatever you are told, you just listen. As it's like you're a blank canvas. Everybody keeps on drawing on it, and then you try to put things together to understand what is the right thing for you to do as a professional required to deliver on a particular project. So that is professional skepticism. It's not about being just disagreeable, but it's about questioning, getting to the truth, and giving the most independent view. This is a very important thing. Due care and due diligence. Now, what I find is that often, people don't back up their theories and whatever positions they have taken with adequate supportings or evidence. So everything is all linked. So ultimately, when we say that due diligence means one has to first build a proper base, understand what we have in hand, look at everything in detail, go through the documents, go through the contracts, go through everything in detail, analyze using proper tools, analyze things, and then come to, then you can do your workings. Like in case of valuations, we do our workings. If there is a structuring engagement, then we will schedule a lot of steps. But before that, one has to analyze the data which you have got, how acceptable it is. You can counter your client about what acceptability of the data, because that's the most important thing. And it takes days to settle sometimes, So one has to do all that and then come to what is the acceptable level of paperwork which you can rely on, and then build your entire models on that. So that is about the the analysis of the numbers which are given to you, or the papers or the documentation given to you. You will also have to have proper procedures. Like for example, I will tell you from my angle how we do it. When we get certain data, we will analyze. We will have our standard files. We'll have different folders. Everything obviously in soft, and nothing is in hard copies, please. So you have your folders. You'll have your versions. You'll have questions, all the queries. You'll have the responses for every question that you have raised. You'll have your responses also noted there, so that tomorrow if somebody questions as to why some particular thing is accepted by us, we will have a reply to it, because it will be in form of a reply which you would have noted against a query, and of course it has to be something which you can accept, otherwise you will reject it. So documentation is very important, extremely important, because when you do any certification work without proper documentation, it is incomplete work according to me. Again, when we work on the projects, there will be so many different versions which will get created at different stage. Sometimes you make a particular version with certain set of data, and then you have already raised questions, and then we change the data that no, this is not correct, this should have been the correct position. Then that becomes another version. So there are lots of versions which are created, and when you have so many versions created, you have ample evidence to show that you have done a thorough diligence of the work, and then you have delivered your delivered on your project. Now the most important thing is risk-based approach. So I find that sometimes chartered accountants take a very short, a very myopic view, and they don't look at what is the real risk involved. So it is better, please, engage your questioning mind to understand what is the risk involved, and don't do things where there is a huge amount of risk which is involved. Or if you can see that this is something which is very risky, it is better not to do that kind of assignment. You should have the courage to give back the file, in the sense you should be able to say no to an assignment, and that's quite okay, quite okay. So it should not be driven by just the targets or what you want to achieve and all that. One has to not take short-term views. One has to take a long-term, low-risk approach. Now, doing all this obviously does take time. It is not that things will just, be churned out, because all these, exercising diligence takes time. However, one has to be very careful that one cannot just take immense amount of time and overshoot the timelines. You have to deliver in time, and so it's important to understand what really matters. Don't go tangential into things which really don't have any bearing. And one has to, understand. You have to very objectively think about exactly what are your concerns, where you want to head, and just stick to your path and get your work done with diligence within the due time. So in all the transactions, there's a very, very strict timeline. It is not that one can spread it over a long time. Sometimes, of course, they stretch on not for the reasons of the professionals, but for the reasons of commercial dealings taking time. So sometimes it does stretch on for a longer time. However, in most of the cases, there is a very, very tight timeline one has to adhere to, and within that, one has to have a risk-based approach with due care and proper documentation to deliver in time. The quality of the deliverables. Now that's very, very important. One cannot say that because the time was short or something, I have not been able to deliver good quality, report. One has to deliver a good quality report, which makes sense. It gives what is required, and it is informative also. It should be well reasoned. So for doing all that, my advice is that one can keep certain templates and all that ready so that you can deliver much faster. Plus, one nowadays the need of the hour is also not just delivering those Word documents or very long reports, which obviously is required when you want to bring out everything very clearly and elaborately. But one needs to also make an impact in a short time, say over the board, over the management, in which case you need to also have your skill sets for having a good PowerPoint presentation skills and things like that. So so that you can roll out things fast and you can explain in a very effective manner the core thoughts which are required to be conveyed to the management and the board. So quality of deliverables have to be good, and all these things one must properly what do I say, save and archive. In the sense, there has to be an SOP laid down for keeping all these papers and documents. And I'm not saying in a hard copy form, but at least one must have it in soft, in a non-editable way, so that anytime any question comes up, you should have your final documents, backup documents for your final report ready. Very, very important. You must have that. Must have your MRL. You must have your engagement letters. You must have your scope. Everything very clearly defined and should be there in an uneditable format, properly executed. So this is a very important part of delivery. Professional behavior. This is very important because again, if this is something which is a way of life. Again, if you are a good professional, you must carry yourself with certain decorum. You must have certain, you should command respect. Unless you command respect, you will not be able to, your work also will not be respected. So your behavior generally in the society or in the profession should not be something that demeans or discredits the profession. So one has to always remember that once we are a professional, we call ourselves chartered accountants, we have to stay up to that image, because chartered accountants are highly intelligent, respected people, and we have to keep up to that image and not do anything which is not befitting our profession. Now the most important thing again, this is stakeholders interest orientation, which is basically public interest is what is important over here. In my kind of work, most important thing for me is to have the stakeholders interest orientation. So if I'm doing anything which is in public space, which affects a public company, a listed company, I ensure that the interest of the stakeholders is first taken care of. So if you do little less, or means if what you're finding is not something which your client is happy with, that is still okay. You should not affect the public. And the reason, in case of transactions, what I find is that the reason we cannot really shortchange the public is because there are so many small investors. There are large, small, all investors, and their investments will get really badly impacted if there is any finding which is not in public interest. So it's important that whenever a finding is given, it has to first take into account the public interest. So my golden principle is always that uh, whatever is in public interest is what we will do. So it may happen sometimes I'm questioned that you have in this case done this, whereas you should have done like that. And then my final reply to the regulator would be always that, see, this would not have been in public interest, and that's why I've done something which is more inclined towards the public interest. And though it may not be the convention, I might deviate a little just to make it more it better for the public. So we have to understand that we are, we have a lot, we are carrying a professional's load. So we have to serve the society. We have to keep public interest in mind, stakeholders' interest in mind, stakeholders' interest, and which also means it could be the regulator, it could be public, it could be lenders. There were certain instances which had come to me where I was asked to, do something, for a transaction. And then I realized in a day or two what exactly was happening. And I realized that the lenders would be affected if they did this. And though there was nothing wrong in my scope, I stepped out of it saying that I won't be comfortable even being a part of this transaction. So never fall prey to those, the greed. It's okay if you've done the work, you lose the fee. It's okay. It doesn't matter. But it's better not to, take any such risk or anything that is wrong. It doesn't go well in your professional career. And when you do things like this, then obviously then your there will be higher respect, higher confidence that the regulators will have in you, higher confidence that the public will have in you, and that automatically pays in terms of people in fact referring more work to you because they know that you will do it in a way which is acceptable and not really something which will be just aggressive for some short term gain of a few. And then, of course, we are the guardians of transparency, accountability. Our reports, our accounts, our notes have to not hide anything. They have to clearly give what is the correct picture, truthfully say it. So we are we coming back to the integrity part that our reports are whatever we sign, our reports are audit reports or valuation reports or whatever other reports that certificates that we issue, we must be very transparent and truthful in what we do because these are very important factors to make you a very respected professional. So with this, I think this is just a summary of what I discussed over the last, I think, 40 minutes. So these are not really, constraints. Yeah, somebody may say that these are constraints, but I think if you are a long-term professional and you want to earn respect the right way, then these are the facets you should not ignore. That is integrity, objectivity, due diligence, and professional behavior. And of course, the stakeholders' interest, most important. So, with all this, you will be a respected professional and it will give you a lot of, satisfaction in life as a respected professional. So, I think with this, I can take some questions if you have. I can stop sharing.
Thank you, ma'am, for reminding us that true professionalism lies in unwavering integrity and the courage to uphold it. So, to move forward, our second distinguished speaker is CA Harsh Batra, madam, a seasoned professional in the domain of risk and quality, audit, and capital markets. She brings with her rich experience in navigating complex regulatory framework and high stakes engagements. She is widely appreciated for her ability to blend deep technical expertise with practical solution oriented thinking. She has been actively involved in driving quality initiatives, contributing to thought leadership and mentoring professionals, reflecting her strong commitment to excellence and continuous learning. Her insights on behavioral and interpersonal competencies are both relevant and timely in today's evolving professional landscape. Ma'am, we welcome you for the session today, and the virtual dais is yours. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Priyanshu, for the kind introduction. Thank you, ICI. Thank you, the entire team, for arranging the session on this key topic. I appreciate, that I've been given an opportunity to discuss with you all, the key nuances or the aspects, based on our practical experiences, on these aspects. I also echo with what the previous speakers spoke about, right? Maintaining the integrity, skepticism, and professionalism in our day-to-day client commitments. I think that's very important. But to add, just give me a second. Sorry. Sorry, there was some technical glitch. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible, but we
Yeah,
cannot
yeah,
see
yeah.
your video right now.
Yeah. 1 second. Just. Sorry about that.
Yes.
So I echo with what previous speaker mentioned on maintaining the integrity and and keeping your professional skepticism high. While we are also delivering equally to the client, right? So these aspects are very important, right? But now I think till now the speaker spoke about that what are the traits that we should be maintaining, right, and for which we should not be compromising at all, while we deliver to the client. Now what I am going to talk about is that how we communicate that, right? We all would have experienced those difficult conversations in our professional career, right, wherein client may ask you to do certain things which you may not agree as a professional, right? It may not necessarily be on account of what is right and wrong. Probably it may be on account of what you as a professional think may not be a right thing to do, right? Similarly, if you're in employment, you can have those difficult situations with your manager, with your with the partner with whom you're working on. So now I think we'll discuss on how to navigate through those difficult conversations, right? Or and what is it that is going to help you, right, in keeping your view forward in front of the client or maybe your partner or whoever you are dealing with. So that's where your interpersonal skills comes into the picture, right? And I would like to highlight that interpersonal skills does not only include your communication skills. It includes all other things as well that we will discuss in next few minutes, right? And then we'll also focus on something called as conflict management, right? It's a very important aspect in today's world, wherein we are dealing with the wars situation, and we are hearing every new thing every other day, right? So learning from those experiences, I think again I believe that is also a very important aspect for us as professional chartered accountants. So I'll just move on. 1 second.
Okay, so before we start, I just thought to again bring out few important reforms that Institute have brought up, recently. We all know that the advertisement guidelines have been I would say liberated, in our favor, right? And there have also been approval from ICI for allowing us to collaborate, globally. Okay, so why I thought to highlight these points, because I strongly believe, with all these changes coming in, with the CAs, probably getting the opportunity to work, with the global affiliated, firms, we would there is all the more need to implement the interpersonal skills and enhance those skills, to easily navigate through these changes. Of course, these are opportunities. Of course, it is going to as professionals, it is going to give us more work. It is going to give the chartered accountants more maybe visibility across the globe. But that also requires then that we communicate properly, because all these reforms will now require us to probably negotiate with the clients, talk to the clients globally. And that's where it is important to understand the importance of the interpersonal skills, understanding how to communicate with different cultures, right? Probably when we will be communicating with with the firms outside India or outside our culture, there would be again there would be different way of communication. There would be a different way of negotiation. So that's where also developing interpersonal skills, and having those competencies is going to matter. And that's why I thought that it will be probably important for all of us to understand that why these skills and competencies are important. So now let's move on to interpersonal skills. I think I told you initially that it doesn't necessarily include the communication. What does interpersonal skills include? Right, it includes listening, questioning, understanding the body language, and managing emotions. It can include various other things, but today I thought that probably we can focus on these four aspects. So why these aspects are important for us as professionals? So whenever you're going for a client meeting, or you're going to have some discussion with your partner, or as a partner you're going to have some discussion with your team, right? So whenever you go for those discussions, it is very important for us to have a equal space of mind to listen to what other is saying. So it is not only how or what you're saying, it is also how you're listening to the other person, right? So that is also an equally a very important part of any communication, I would say. And when I say listening, I think it's very important to understand that it doesn't only mean that hearing, right? Listening is different than hearing. We all have ears, right, and we all can hear what is being said. But listening is also about interpreting the thing, or with the same intent with which it has been it is being said, right? Again, we'll discuss few examples probably in the upcoming slides, right? Second is about questioning, right? So whenever you are in any discussion, right? Just now, probably an hour or so back, I had a 4 hours discussion with one of our client for their IPO journey, okay? And which is probably in talks to go to come up with the listing in next 3 to 4 months. So for that discussion, it is equally important for me to ask relevant questions to the promoter, to the CFO, or to whoever the relevant stakeholders are. So again, whenever you're going for those discussions, probably if we take an example, like I went today, went for a discussion with a client, right? I should understand what was the agenda of the discussion. Okay, client will tell me that they are planning to go for a IPO, and this is the background of the company. Now, before I go for that discussion, I should probably study about what does the client do. I should study about their industry, right? And I should also know, background about the, promoters who are the owners of the company. Why is that important? So that in discussion, I can also ask relevant questions. And that's where, as probably professionals and chartered accountants, we play an important role, right? They're not, the client is not looking for people who can say, yes, to whatever, they would to whatever they are saying. And that's what, my previous speaker also spoke, that it is not important for us as professionals to say yes, to everything. It is important for all of us to have a questioning mind, and to have that questioning mind. My suggestion is always that you need to be prepared, for those discussions. So to have, again, to develop those interpersonal skills, it is important that whenever you go for the discussion, you prepare for those discussions so that you can ask the right questions. Third is understanding, body language. So interpersonal skills is, as I said, is much more beyond the, communication, right? Hence, how you communicate, what is your body language, how nervous you are, how confident you are, also plays an, equally an important role in, passing on the message in the right way. Right. So again, focus on your body language, dress up well. So that's another thing, we always, suggest to our teams internally or externally, that, whenever you're going for a discussion, for a client meeting, or probably again with your own, in your own office with your own partner, himself or herself, probably for an appraisal discussion, dress well, right? Because that will demonstrate that, that you're serious for the discussion. You're giving an importance to the everyone's time, right? If you're going for a meeting which has probably the promoter, CFO, or probably 10 other stakeholders in the company, right? If you are, reaching on time, if you are confident in your discussions, it demonstrates that you are giving him that much importance, to the other side of the table, so that you can probably, again, you can demonstrate how confident and how serious you are. Fourth is very important in my view, which is managing emotions. We all are human beings, right? One thing that we need to remember is that when we are interacting with each other, we are interacting with, human beings. Everyone has, emotions. When we will tell something to the client, which is not good, probably which is not in line with law, right? So client may or may not, like it. Okay. So that's where you need to also understand that, you need to understand the emotions of the other party as well. And that's where you also need to, probably appreciate, right, that the other party may also have some reactions as well. Right. So managing emotions as part of your communications is a very important part, of having a overall, good interpersonal skills. Right. So we'll talk about managing emotions with some examples in later slides. So I hope we are clear till here. So I'll move on to the next slides. So I've covered this, that interpersonal skills, includes wide variety of skills, which includes questioning, understanding the body language, and it also includes other attributes, which also we covered, that having the overall understanding the overall emotional intelligence as well. So this, I tried to cover one example. So for example, Mr. Ravan is a senior manager with Lanka Limited, right? And he holds weekly, catch-up meetings with the client and with his team. Right. During these meetings, he generally, he's distracted, right? He checks his emails and personal calls, right? And he's also interrupted by his colleagues, during those discussions. And how now they take this as an example, probably, happening with you in the real life, right? If you go for, for some discussions, right, with the CFO of the client, and CFO is probably, checking his phone frequently, or if you're on the other side, right, CFO has come to you for some discussion, right, and you are the senior team member, right, you are in the leadership role. So but during those discussions, again, you are distracted, you're checking your phone, you're speaking to someone else frequently, you're not probably, again, giving the right amount of respect which is required to be given to that discussion. So client and and the team member of the senior manager believes that he's disrespectful and is not valuing their time. And when this was brought to the attention of Mr. Ravan, he dismissed that allegation, and he said that he was trying to multitask, he's too busy, client and probably the team wouldn't get his commitments on that. So again, what I'm just trying to highlight with this example is that is not a right way of demonstrating your, again, communication or interpersonal skills. When you are having any discussion with your team or with your client, you need to be there, right? You can multitask, but probably not at the cost of time, right? And also then if someone is highlighting some aspect about this to you, right, then you are not even accepting that. So, you're dismissing those allegations with some other excuses, I would say. So I just thought again it would be helpful give you that example. Another example that I had is, for example, there is a team, and there is some probably disagreement within the team on certain thing. For example, it may be because of interpretation of some case law, or if it is, or it may be on account of interpretation of some new section in the act. For example, now we have the new Income Tax Act 2025, right? For example, three or four team members are working on some project relating to the Income Tax Act 2025, wherein one of the team member is of a different view regarding that interpretation, while the other have a different view, right? And then there is a professional disagreement between the team on those aspects. So here, what is important is that that someone has to come in to build that. Sorry. Okay. I thought, yeah. So for probably there is some disagreement between the team on account of that. So in the later part of the slide, we will also see that how we can deal with these conflicts. What are the different ways of dealing with it? But again, this is again a situation where right application of the interpersonal skills is important to avoid that these disagreements continue for a longer period of time, and then ultimately that affects the quality of the work that is being delivered. So what does the interpersonal skill consist of? Again, sorry that we discussed earlier. So how you can probably develop the interpersonal skills? It means you need to be aware of yourself. You need to be honest with yourself and also with others, and develop and maintain a meaningful relationship with healthy boundaries. We all being a CA, we are all known for maintaining the relationships as well. When we have a client on board, right, we all try that we can serve the client in the best possible manner, and also at the same time we can maintain the healthy relationships with the client. So again, one thing which is very important here is that it should be a meaningful relationship, but with healthy boundaries. As the previous speaker correctly highlighted, that I should be able to say even no to a client with whom I have a relationship. And if I have the flexibility to say no to that client, that means the relationship that I have with the client is meaningful and healthy. And then last part, which is very important of our interpersonal skill, is navigating unpleasant interpersonal experiences, right? So this is again a part of conflict management, that as part of communication you should be able to navigate through negative and unpleasant experiences also, right? Again, there would be some difficult conversations with your client. Probably a client will come up if, for example, if there is some delay, right, then client may just pick up a call and call you and start blasting on you, right, that there is a delay, your team is not working well, you're not delivering it on time. So again, you now, as a leader or as a professional, now you have to navigate through it. Is it a pleasant experience? The answer is no, right? Probably this is something no professional would want to go through, right? But now, being professionals, we do need to navigate through it, right? And that is also a part of interpersonal skills. Again, we'll see certain examples. So we have discussed this, so I'll skip that in the interest of time. But yeah, one thing that I probably would want to highlight here is that people with strong interpersonal skills are often more successful in both their professional and personal lives. While I understand, a lot of you would have a different view, can have a different view here, but that's what I have learned, in my experiences and journey. Probably the other speakers here, would be able to I don't know, highlight that. But I've experienced that, as professionals, we are expected to be, technically knowledgeable, right? Because we are CA, so we are expected to know what is written in GST, what is written in Income Tax Act, what is written in Ind AS, auditing standards, right? That is something we are already expected to know, because we are qualified, we have, we have grilled ourselves through that journey of becoming a qualified chartered accountant. But after a certain point of time, it's how you communicate, how you present yourself, how you navigate through different conversations, how you articulate your views in front of a large audience. And that's where you differentiate yourself from others. And that also defines that how successful you will be, right? So it is equally important to be technically sound, to be aware of what is happening, what are the changes in law and everything. But at the same time, it is also important that how we present ourselves, right? And that is a part of interpersonal skills. And that's where I think probably ICI is rightly focusing on having these kind of sessions, right? So again, I just thought to highlight that it is an important skill to have, to differentiate yourself, right, and to be more successful, than the others. Again, these are the few more aspects which are also covered, as part of your overall interpersonal skills. We talked about communication. Communication can include verbal communication, written communication, and everything. Again, if I have to talk about a few seconds about communication, it's very important that how do we address the client or probably other team members when we are writing emails. With these global guidelines and networking guidelines coming into the picture, it is very important that we approach the client or anyone for that matter in an appropriate manner, and we understand the culture across different countries as well. And that's where the written communication also will play a key role. Through interpersonal skill, you should be able to influence the other. When I say influence, I'm sure you all as professional would have been part of negotiation discussions with the client, wherein client would be quoting, for example, XP. You have an expectation of some X plus 20. Right now you have to reach some conclusion with the client, because you are also not wrong in asking for something which requires effort, right? While you also want to understand the client and their expectations as well. So that's where your influential or probably your negotiation skills will come into picture. I have seen so many discussions in my real life, where with your influence you can actually turn around the conversation in an absolutely different way, which you would not be expecting. And for this, again, my view is that it is very important that we are prepared for those discussions. If we go to some for any discussion with the client or probably team, right, if we are prepared, we are in a better position to influence the other party. Then leadership is a very important part of the interpersonal skill. Leadership, when we talk about, right, it is not only being someone who is a part of the team, who is taking the decisions, right, but it is also about being someone who understands what's going on, right, in the organization, in the institution, with the professionals, right, and who is ready to take the positions as required, right. So as you go up in the ladder, right, again, that's what I'm telling you based on my practical experience. As step up, it's very important that you take accountability for your decisions. You are aware of, again, what is happening within the team, right, and then you stand up for your decisions. I think all the senior members here would agree that you may not always be right. So being a leader doesn't mean that you're always right, but being a leader means that you stand up for what you have said, even if you have done something wrongly, acknowledging that it's a mistake, and then you're ready to correct it, is a very important part of any leader, for that matter. Then I think I would say both influence, being able to influence or motivate, right, is equally an important part of any person who is keen on developing their interpersonal skills. And lastly, it's problem solving. Again, you call it problem solving, you call it conflict management, you call it being able to bring consensus, is also a part of interpersonal skills. So for a second, imagine you're in some discussion wherein you have some disagreements with the client, probably say on account of money only, right? So now you need to plan that you are prepared for the discussion. You know what are the efforts which you as a professional will be required to invest, for which you are asking the right amount of fee, right? That is one. Right, then I think those data points will help you to influence the other party for the money that you're asking. And for example, in the same discussion, client has highlighted that there was some delay from your end, because of which project got stuck or something like that. Now as a leader, you need to be prepared that you acknowledge, firstly, you need to be prepared what went wrong in your last engagement. Secondly, you need to acknowledge, okay, this went wrong, but then we are, that's how we have prepared something to ensure that it will not, it will not happen. With this, you are demonstrating your leadership skills, and then you come up with some data points to ask for a money that you're asking for, and probably you are asking for X plus 20, and the client is only ready to pay X. You come to some conclusion of X plus 15 or 10, whatever is best suited. So that's becomes part of your overall negotiation. So that's how you can apply these different aspects of interpersonal skills in any communication or discussion that you're doing. Again, we have covered this verbal or non-verbal communication. And non-verbal, again, as I told you, it includes body language, tone of the voice, how you're communicating, how confident again and nervous you are. So again, I'll move on. Emotional intelligence, again, we briefly covered it, being able to understand and imagine your own and others' emotions. I'll take one or two examples in the later part of the slides to help navigate through this in a more detailed manner. So again, we spoke about these aspects briefly in the previous slides. Team working again is also a very important aspect of developing the overall interpersonal skills, right? This is something we all know. Then second, when we talk about negotiation, persuasion, or influencing skills, it's about working with others to find a mutually agreeable outcome, which is a win-win situation. And they may be considered as a subset of a communication, but it is often treated separately, right? So again, whenever we go for some discussion, we want to win the client, right? We want to probably win, have the engagement in our favor, right? So persuasion or negotiation also includes, working towards a solution or an outcome, which is a win-win situation, from both the sides. Problem solving or decision making, that means in working with others to identify and solve the problems, which includes making decision about the best course of action. So I think again conflicts management we'll cover in the later part of the slides, and broadly we have covered all these aspects. So I'll now I think this is very important, and I will spend few seconds here. How to improve your interpersonal skills. I think this is something for which you all are looking an answer for. First is be happy. So whenever you go for any discussion, we may all be dealing with different set of emotions every day, but whenever you go for a discussion, please demonstrate yourself as someone who is very happy to be there, who is very happy to be part of that discussion, right? So I think that is one aspect to improve your interpersonal skill. Consider co-workers' feelings. Again, second is very important. It's part of understanding the emotional intelligence. It is about again. For example, you are going for some escalation meeting, right? Client has escalated that there's some delay from our end, in an ongoing engagement, right? So you have to appreciate that client is not happy, right? So they would have some emotions, right? Whenever, so when they will raise these pointers, there will be some biasness, in their probably communication, right? That your team did this, your team didn't come to the client on time, they didn't communicate the right list of the requirement on time, so they will be emotional, okay, because probably they are not happy with the work or with the delay that has happened, at whoever cost it has happened, but we need to understand that there would be some emotions. Now as professional, our responsibility is that we handle that emotion. We need not to be probably go away or to dissolve ourselves in those emotions. As professionals, now our job is to handle those emotions, which we, as discussed in the previous slide, is equally an important part of interpersonal skills, right? So one is acknowledge that there would be some emotions and consider those emotions while you are preparing for those discussions. Now I can only suggest, right, how to navigate through those emotions. One of my suggestion would be that be ready with the data points, right? Client will be emotional, so first is you acknowledge the emotions, like how I do if I'm facing the client in such a probably delicate situation. I have to, I humbly I accept, right, that sir or ma'am, I acknowledge that you're not happy. So I don't need to necessarily acknowledge that there is a delay, because probably I believe that there was no delay, right? Because it didn't happen because of my team, it didn't happen because of my fault or something, right? So in such situation, probably I need to acknowledge that you're not happy or you're upset about that. But let's sir or ma'am, let's talk about what went wrong and where the expectations, there was a gap in expectations. So these keywords are very important. It will at least give the other person an impression that you are not negating the concerns, right? That is very important. If I have been on the other side and I am not happy about something, and if I go in the discussion and I'm being said that no, you're wrong, there is nothing to be unhappy about, probably I won't feel good, right? And I may not want to go further in those discussions, right? So again, it's very important first to acknowledge that there is a problem, acknowledge that the other person is unhappy, consider again their overall feelings and emotions, and then you need to navigate, or you need to respond to it. So this is another thing. I hope I'm able to clarify myself here. Third trait is become an active listener. Again, we discussed that, right? If I have to consider the same situation where client is not happy and they've escalated something, then I'm sure you would have prepared yourself. You would have spoken to your team. Ki batao bhai, what went wrong? Okay, where is the delay? When we send the data request, when we receive the list, what was the quality of the list? So you need to be prepared with all these things, which you will use as part of responding. But firstly, you need to listen again, right? So firstly, you need to acknowledge that other person has some feelings, and thirdly, you need to listen, right? Let the other person express why they are unhappy, right? First you acknowledge that they are unhappy. Thirdly, you listen to them, why they are unhappy. And if you are an active listener, that means you're listening to them. You're not only hearing, as you said earlier, you're understanding their body language. You are understanding the other party's emotions. Then you need to again ask questions, right? So it will make the other person feel that you are engaged in that discussion, right? If I'm just hearing and I'm not listening, then I will not have any questions also to ask, and I will straight away jump on saying that no sir, we sent the quality of the data received was very poor. I had my team had to sit late nights. Then probably again the other person may not appreciate that. So again, once you listen, then you ask questions, right? Okay, probably if they are saying that your team delayed the work probably by 7 days, then you can ask the next question that what is the timeline that you're looking forward to now, right? That will again make you demonstrate as a professional who is interested in completing the task, who is interested in delivering the quality work. Probably if there is a delay here and there, then that you need to manage. But then you're not someone who is shying away, or who is running away from their responsibilities. Practice active participation. I think 4 and 5 are linked to each other. Again, for all these things, you need to prepare yourself for the discussion. So whenever I take these kind of sessions, participants generally ask that, Harsh, do we need to probably prepare for every short damn discussion that we are going to have? Probably not. We will learn to navigate through these discussions slowly and steadily. Yeah, I mean, for the real difficult conversation, you need to. But once you start practicing these traits in your daily life, probably you will experience certain changes, right? And you will not mean you may not need to spend so much of time of yours in preparing. You will not later. You will know the definite the drill to deal with it. Include and respect everyone. Again, I can just give in the same situation. For example, in that discussion, there is a finance manager. There is for example, CFO. There is also a director. Who is part of that entity. So you need to acknowledge everyone who is in that discussion. Acknowledge the problem that everyone has faced. Because of whatever delay which has happened, and respect everyone's presence as a gesture. So all these traits, you might be very small, but they go a long way, and on how you navigate any discussion. Seventh, again, is very important. Act as a moderator. Now, act as a moderator does not mean that you are just you're just here to say that now Harsh Batra will speak, now Mr. XYZ will speak. That's not is the job of a moderator. Moderator would mean that you're listening everybody. You're acknowledging what everybody is saying, right? And then probably you're communicating your own view, your the solutions that you're proposing, right? So moderator here means and someone who is here to give the solution, somewhere who is also here to resolve the problem or the conflict that various parties have, and who is trying that every party in that arrangement is coming to a common conclusion for that matter. Then thinking before speaking, again, that comes with the preparation. If you go for some discussion, prepared with whatever you want to speak, what points you need to keep forward is where you are going to overcome, think before speaking. I can tell you again, based on my experiences, that in these discussions there would be certain allegations that may be put forward to you. So till now we spoke about understanding the emotions of others, how you need to navigate through the emotions of the other parties. But developing interpersonal skills also includes managing your own emotions, right? When someone puts an allegation, probably in a group of 10 people, and they put you on the spot that your team caused a delay, you did not come on the client, right? You did not pay attention to my engagement. Obviously, you would also have certain emotional reaction to that. You would also not like it as a professional. It has happened with me, and trust me, I also feel that I'm being targeted, I'm being put on the spot, right? But that's where I have also learned as a professional that how I need to deal with it better, right? And one thing that has helped me is controlling my emotions, right? Here, I think not everyone is here to uh, to target you or to challenge you as a professional, but probably if you need to again understand that you need to have a solution here, right? It does. And also at the same time, a lot of people often ask me that does it mean that I give up my own self respect, and I completely engage and acknowledge to what client is saying? The answer is no. The answer is again it is responding then reacting. That always works. And trust me, while growing as a professional,
Lost her.
She may try to log in. Let's wait.
Yes, yes.
If we
Anyhow,
have
sir.
if we have questions for Drushti, maybe
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can
we are
take it.
having some questions. In the meanwhile, we can take some questions for Drushti madam. Drushti madam, are you there? Yeah, ma'am.
Sure.
This is one question. Have you witnessed moments where doing the right thing came at a visible cost? So, how should professionals prepare themselves for such trade-offs?
Sorry, I missed the first part. Can you just repeat? Sorry, I just missed it.
Just hold on, ma'am. Just hold on.
I will answer that question, Drishti. You will also be able to do it. He's asking when there is you take a right decision and there is because of that you lose something. There's a trade-off. So the way I have looked at it in my life, in my practice, we have grown our office from 2020, I was a proprietor. I mean, 2000, I was a proprietor. By 2022, I had 32 partners, 17 locations, 700 employees. We never paid a bribe till today. And we were in indirect tax. So the trade off is always plus. When a client comes who wants you to fix it, uh, you tell him that I can't fix it. Then he goes ahead and fixes it himself. That is one possibility. If he asks for advice, I say, don't fix it. Because when the department comes to know that the client is a soft target, they go against him again and again. Whereas if he goes and fights and wins in a fight, they will never go back to him. They will never try to, challenge him again. Did you get it, Drushti? You can possibly, I think Harsh Batra is back. Yeah. Harsh,
Yes.
go ahead. We will take this question after
I
you.
had only asked him to repeat the question, of course. I've been in profession for 30 years, sir, now. So, and we are part of Bansi Mehta and Company. We are known for our ethical
I know.
standards, so we know how these things are handled. And we, as I said in the during my presentation, also there were many times when we have returned the assignments, or we have expressed our inability to do something because it would not gel with our professional, standards. So absolutely, I completely concur with you. Yeah.
Yes, Harsh ma'am, you can proceed.
Sure, sure. My apologies. There was some technical glitch. So I was completing this slide. So last thing which probably I would want to communicate is avoid frequent negativity. Again, it comes as a complete package, of your overall pitch, or or overall your overall presentation, to how you are proposing to solve any conflict, with, or any discussion with the client, right? It is always appreciated that that you put forward something which is positive, and when I say positive, I don't mean that we always again concur with what is being proposed to us. Positive means that you look for the solutions, which are under the ambit of the law, which is doable, right? And even if it is not doable, just again echoing to what discussion was going on when I joined, is that doing what is what can be done, right? And if it is not doable, then probably moving on from there to saying a polite no, for that matter, right? But I would say that, to summarize this, I think, again, it's very important that to navigate through the entire discussion. It is important that we remain solution oriented, we come prepared. We act as a leader, right, wherein we are there to give solutions, acknowledging mistakes, but at the same time we do comply with all the ethical and the professional standards that we need to. Again, message, and feedback, that is very important. Again, you when as a sender, what you are sending is should be same as what receiver is accepting, and for that, probably at times it is important to have a feedback from the other side of the party. Uh, Again, I just thought that probably this picture would be helpful to to understand, or to relate to these kind of experiences that we generally have in our day-to-day life. I'm sure you all have been through those discussions and situations wherein we believe that what we have done is right. It is probably the other person who is not able to understand what I'm trying to communicate, right? So again, it's very important that that message sent and received is happening in a manner where the message is going in a right way, right? And there should not be any conflict between what we are trying to communicate and what the other party is trying to understand. I'm not sure how many of you have been through those difficult appraisal discussions at year end, or probably those discussions with your client, where you are getting some feedback, right? So a lot of times we understand that we have done, again, my work was completely okay, right? It is you that you who is not able to understand. But that's where the expectation gap happens, is and that's what I've also experienced in my journey till now, right? A lot of there had been those situations where I was like, I have done my best job. I think this can be done in this way only. But that's where sometimes I have also gone back and reflected, right? When I I went for some discussions with the client gave me a completely different perspective, probably which I was not aware as a professional before. I had before I spoke to, for example, CFO or someone senior in the leadership team, and that's what made me to reflect back and to probably correct or redo certain things at times, right? So again, I just thought that it would be helpful to link all these things with examples that we all face, in real life. Yeah, I think we all have discussed these aspects, so I'll quickly, move on from here. So, what these are the few factors that influence the overall communication. I believe that it is very important that for those critical discussions, like some escalation discussions, or where you are helping the client to understand their IPO journey or their wealth management process. I strongly believe that those discussions should be face to face, or physical, right? In a where you can see the other person physically and understand their body language, because it will help you to understand the reactions from the other side better, right? Then cultural and language restrictions and change also influence the overall communication process, right? When you are communicating with someone who is from a complete different geographical jurisdiction, right? You need to understand what are the cultural what are the things which are culturally acceptable there, which may not be acceptable here. A very common example here is addressing someone as sir, ma'am. While it may be common in India, but in a lot of Western jurisdictions, people generally prefers to be addressed themselves as with their first name, right? Even the sir, ma'am also creates that gender conflict as well. So again, it's better that we understand that. Again, a very basic thing, but probably an important thing in your day-to-day life. Again, I can tell you that I have sent an email to someone saying that they were ma'am, assuming that the other person would be a female going by the name, right? But I was then later given to understand that the other person is actually a male. So that's where it was a lesson for me that probably it's better that I address everyone as with their first name, right? Again, it can be completely it can change depending upon with whom you're communicating. Probably I would not address someone as with their first name to my mentors or to my teachers, right? However, we may be in the same organization, we may be working together. Probably in those cases I may not prefer that. Again, it may be influenced by my own cultural background, or the background or the cultural environment in that organization itself. So that's why you need to probably change or switch on or switch off depending upon where you are dealing with. Perception again is a very important part of any communication process.
Harsh,
Don't go with
you may have to
It's my
excuse me.
Yeah.
Harsh, you may have to close because we normally have a couple of questions, and also we have to close it.
Sure, sir.
I-
I think I'll take, if you're okay, then I'll take another 3-4 minutes to
Please
quickly
go ahead.
wrap.
Please go ahead. Close
Yeah.
it that way. Don't delay
Yeah.
further.
Yeah. So I think other aspects, we have discussed. So there was, one important aspect that I wanted to discuss as part of this presentation is on conflict management. So next 2-3 minutes, I'll quickly touch upon this, and and we'll share few key aspects of it. So when you're in conflict with someone, there is a one factor that makes a difference between damaging your relationship or probably deepening it for your entire life, and that factor is attitude, right? I'm sure that everyone here would agree with that. Attitude means how you are dealing with any difficult situation, any difficult conversation, or any conflict is what makes you going to make you stand out, right, as a professional. And there are different ways of doing it. 1 second. Yeah. So these are the 4 ways which are probably, which are envisaged, that with which, conflicts can be managed. One is accommodating, other is collaborating, avoiding, and being competitive. So accommodating is where you are probably giving up, right? If there is some conflict with the other party, for example, again a very simple, client wants that one of your resource permanently sits in my office for 1 month for this project, while you may disagree कि that resource can multitask. अगर वो client पे जाएगा तो probably you have to he or she will be spending more time on that client only. He or she may not be able to multitask, but you think that this can be managed, so probably you can accommodate to it. So it depends. Accommodating to resolve any conflict can be used to address those situations wherein wherein you think that it can be managed, right? You would want to avoid any kind of conflicts there, and there can be multiple reasons for it, because you want to achieve something higher, you want to negotiate for something better, so you probably might accommodate. Another is avoiding, right? Avoiding means that, as the name suggests, ignoring. For example, again, client raises a very petty concern about probably your team reaching at 10 o'clock or 10:30 in the morning, whereas the official timing is say 9:30, right? Again, you probably would not want to negotiate on that, right? So while you listen to the other party, but you're also trying to avoid that, probably because you would want to check that if the work is happening on time, if the resource is completing the 9 hours, right, and there is no hamper on the quality. So you probably might not want to address that issue for now, and that is because you would want to have some better discussion, so you probably may want to avoid it. Collaborating, again, as the name suggests, is coming up with some solution wherein it's a win-win situation, right? You also come 2 steps behind, or the client also comes 2 steps ahead, and you come up with them with a solution which is a win-win for both the parties. And that is a very important attribute of a person who is a problem solver. Competitive means that you are assertive, right? It needs to be applied to a situation where you are completely you think that something is completely non-negotiable, as my previous speaker highlighted, something which is against ethical standards, something which can put me in the trouble in terms of laws and regulation. For that, I had to be competitive. If I have some disagreement with a client wherein it is about the non-compliance with laws, regulations, ethical standards, something which is, for example, not in the interest of the public, so there your attitude has to be competitive. That means you would fight till the time you don't want. You will not avoid it, because avoidance can bring larger troubles. You cannot collaborate in terms of compliance with laws and regulations and the professional standards, or public interest. You can't collaborate, right? Otherwise we will be putting our profession down. And you also definitely can't be accommodating. You can't accept what the client is saying. So that's where you need to be competitive. So again, you need to apply this depending upon what situation you are in, right? And depending upon what level of stakes which are involved. So these are the things that I plan to cover in today's session. So I'll take a pause here, and if there are any questions, I'll be happy to address those.
Thank you, ma'am, for highlighting how behavioral excellence is the key to transforming professional success into lasting impact. I would request the chairman, Committee for Members in Practice, Madhukar Hirdangi sir, if he has some queries and he can ask towards our faculty speakers.
I would like to just add a few things. I think we have very less time. So maybe questions we may have to defer. Anybody has questions, please do post. We will send it to both the speakers and their replies will be forwarded to you. and it's very important that we answer queries. Let's see if we can give some 3 minutes time. First thing is that when this program started, I was a little worried. Where did Priyanshu pick up these young girls? Uh, and when Drishti started speaking, she said, "I'm an independent director." Then next point was, who will make such a young girl a director? This was my second thought. Then she said, "I have been in this profession for 30 years." And I thought she's 30 years. Of course, once you opened your mouth, your experience was very clear, and we are very thankful to you. I think the way even Harsh, I think she packed a bit too much. I normally look at 15 slides for 40 minutes or 45 minutes. I think you had 45 or so for the same time. Maybe it was a bit too much. But I really appreciate you put in so many things that, responding with calm. I think there were a lot of common things also between both of you. And the interpersonal skill examples you gave were very, many people would have related to it. So there is also one very, very important aspect which was emphasized was communication, clear communication. And also we are looking at all new age industry opportunities will need very good communication skills. And therefore, we are coming up with a program for GCC training, where I am sure that we will be spending at least 2 days. Not that 2 days is enough, but 2 days to indicate where all you can go and learn better communication skills. As of now, we have a committee, I think it is the CECL committee, which has an arrangement with British Council for you to improve your vocabulary and grammar. And that's a 3-month course which you can do offline, and they allow you to have access for queries and workshops and all that for another 3 months. Maybe those of you who are interested in enhancing could go there. Secondly, the same committee also has many foreign languages. Rightly observed that the culture is so much different, which was demonstrated by Harsh Batra about, madam and sir very well. It's a wrong, here we say, for example, I have got used to dear so-and-so. I don't know how many people don't appreciate it, but maybe because I'm a bit older now, they don't bother. They say, Buddha hai chodo. And with that, I will give it back to Priyanshu. Maybe you can squeeze in one question for Harsh Batra, if possible, and then you can wind up, sir.
I have a single question for both of our speakers today. So, if you had to define one non-negotiable trait for an uncompromised professional, and for Harsh madam, the behavioral and interpersonal competencies, any one non-negotiable which you identified or you think, as per you, is what is that? Pushti madam.
Yeah.
You're on
Yeah.
mute.
So I am muted. Yeah. So totally non-negotiable is where there is something which is blatantly wrong. What we can clearly see, for example, if I were talking about my work as, say, a valuer, and I was giving a report for a listed company, and if I find that I have a particular finding and the client has something completely different, it's completely non-negotiable. I would just step out of it rather than do anything in that matter, because that's absolutely a no-go way.
All right. Harsh madam.
I think for me it would be the having the right attitude, right? I think that is not non-negotiable for me. Again, with an example, if I'm in any discussion, right, be it with my own team or be it with my client, is about having the right attitude. And that's I know it's a very broad term. Attitude consists of a lot of things, but it obviously it will be about attitude of doing the right thing, no matter what happens. Again, as to echo with what Drishti has also said in her session, right. So it's about having the right attitude to do the right thing in a right way, and and also at the same time probably building the consensus with everyone. So it's the attitude that matters to me a lot in terms of dealing with people.
Thank you. So I think we are at the finishing point of this webinar. So thank you all for the esteemed speakers, the esteemed dignitaries, our chairman, Sir C. Madhukan Narayan Hirgange, sir, President and Vice President Saha, and our esteemed speakers for sharing the valuable insights and practical perspectives. Today's session has truly reinforced that the importance of not just being technically sound, but also being mindful, adaptable, and uncompromising in our professional values and interpersonal conduct. So, on behalf of ICAI and SAFA SMP committee, we thank all the participants for joining us today. We look forward for your continued participation for our future initiatives every Monday. So, and I request everyone to please share your feedback on this webinar and stay engaged, stay inspired, and continue striving for the excellence. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Priyanshu.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful week to follow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Priyanshu ji.
Thank you.